I'm tempted to share a quote, which is, I stand on the sacrifices of people who have come before me and thought, how do I make this mountain taller so that those who come after me can see further? As a humanities student today, yes, there are challenges that have been described, but you look at those challenges with excitement because you've got so much information at your fingertips on your phone and the libraries that we have. And you're definitely, at least for you and I, we're starting at a better place than some of the people that we've heard. So thank you for sharing that. I will start by sharing what I'm doing now and then move back to how I got to what I'm doing now. But before I do that, I want to list a number of countries. And if anybody who's really brilliant tells me what they have in common, I will reward that person. So the countries are Madagascar, Peru, Kenya, Nigeria, and Morocco. What do those countries have in common that happened within the past 2 years? Madagascar, Peru, Kenya, Nigeria, and Morocco. Yes?
Good afternoon. I'm Elias Masinga, a former vet scholar. So all the countries that have been mentioned, they've had the youth uprising, all of them. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, see me after this session. Give them a round of applause. I'll own up to my word. So that's correct. Those countries actually had youth-led protests or youth-led uprisings within the past 2 years. So what have I been doing over the past 6 years now since I left SAIIA? I've mostly been working with organizations that are promoting youth participation in decision-making spaces. The most known one being the African Union. I served as African Union's youth ambassador for Southern Africa. Now, when most of you think of the African Union, you think of the institution where you have seen videos of presidents probably sleeping, and that is true. But it's also an institution that is changing and institutionalizing youth participation to bring more young people into decision making. So that's at least the most known one or the most popular one. Related to that, when you see the description that is on my bio, it says the Club of Rome, and the Club of Rome is also doing similar work, which is to say, yes, youth-led protests have happened, and young people are hurtful. They're tired. They don't want to participate in formal decision-making processes anymore. But how do we bring them back to the decision-making table and we start engaging with them, not just as the ones who are in the peripheries and participate through informal decision-making, but actually at the decision-making table, if we're to use that language. So those two things are I think the most notable ones that I've done in terms of youth engagement and youth contributions to decision making. And when I entered this hall, I saw my former colleague, Nathan, who said, if you go onto that panel and you don't mention that you worked for the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, you and I will have an issue. I was one of the 2020 scholars. So we came onto campus, had 2 fantastic weeks of coming to this building, and then the COVID-19 pandemic happened. So that's the year that we did our internship at SAIIA. So some of the anxieties that you have today, not knowing where you're going to go after your degree, we had that, but we also had that during a pandemic. So it was anxiety, but also multiplied by whichever factors that were going on in the world. When I finished the internship, I was actually unemployed for quite some time, which is also quite stressful. Maybe we'll speak to this later. But I did get a job to be a parliamentary researcher with the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, which was a non-permanent position. And that's also to say to everybody else who's going to apply, sometimes you don't get a position at SAIIA, but it matters how you engage also with the organizations that SAIIA works with when you're at SAIIA, if you do make it for the internship. And then I attended an interview with Dr. Dix, who spoke earlier, and that's how I got onto the road to become a program coordinator for a regional program called Political Dialogue for sub-Saharan Africa. And during my time at KAS is when I also worked with the African Union. So a few lessons from that as well in terms of a hybrid skills, but also engaging with different organizations because your job is not your career. I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the panelists. It was really good to kind of have a sense of everybody's experience in the humanities.